And now, weighing in out of the blue corner, Josh the Punk Thompson.
100% agree.
And on the other mic, he weighs in from the red corner, Big John McCarthy.
I love that. Go ahead. Give it, baby. Give it.
I'm
all right, man. We sore. Come on, man. I've been flying. I had to actually help flap my wings to get that plane to freaking get to where I live, man. Tough. I'm telling you. People are trying. They're trying to take me down, Josh. It ain't gonna happen. They can't do it. Can't do it, baby.
John, they had you grounded for more than 24 hours. I think that's holding you down.
I've been grounded, man. I've been grounded a lot. It's horrible.
I'm gonna be honest, John. They only let you back into Tennessee outside of Dallas because I wrote a letter to Joe Biden. Okay, and I said, please take this guy off the no-fly list. Please get him home. We have a podcast to do, ladies and gentlemen. And boom, Mr. Joe Biden said, you know what, Mr. Thompson, I'm here for you, buddy. I got you.
Joe Biden said, what?
He said, huh? If you got something near and dear to your heart, you should, well, anyways. Well, shit. All right, look, go to weightinginpodcast.com, pick up some of our merch. And I want to thank you guys for continuing to support us. Hit that subscribe button, though, and that little thumb and the little bell there to get notifications from us because we drop shows at all times. Now, if you guys are not hitting that bell, you probably don't know about this show or the other show we dropped side by side with this one. We dropped 2 shows for you guys this week because Big John didn't make the show earlier, so he felt like he had to make it up to you. So I've got to suffer and listen to him talk some more.
That's right, baby. You got to go through
hell. To suffer together. That's the way this is.
The only thing that makes me happy at this time anymore in my life is just making you suffer.
Yes, it's so weird. Like, it's not even fun anymore doing the Bellator shows with you because you're always picking on me.
You bit me.
I did bite you. I did. All right, look, let's get into some news. We're going to do some news, some highlights, like some news talk. We're going to talk over some stuff, and then we're going to get into some fan questions, man. The last show we did a recap of the weekend that John did, basically, and I just kind of, I was like the hype man on that show, just kind of like cheering him on from behind, like. That didn't come out right. No. Cheering him on from behind.
Well, you do whatever you want from behind him. Go ahead.
Yeah, that didn't sound good. This special edition of the Weighing In Podcast, we're dropping a special show just for you guys, but it is brought to you by mybookie.ag. Use our promo code Weighing In. They're going to give you a little extra spending cash, and we are going to give you some advice sometimes, but not this week because there's no fights this week. So make sure you guys pay attention to our shows. Hit that subscribe button, pound that subscribe button, I should say, and the thumbs up and the little bell there for notifications. But go to mybookie.ag. Use our promo code Weighing In so we can give you some odds and numbers that we think you guys might be able to pull some money in. Use that promo code Weighing In at mybookie.ag. Okay, guys. Obviously, there's been some stuff going around on Twitter. I'm a huge fan. John and I talked about this last week. We are, and I am specifically, especially a fan of Cris Cyborg. I want to make sure this is clear. In no way do I wish for her not to be able to fight, whether it's with Bellator, UFC, or anything like that. The way of the sport is what I am talking about. Is the 145-pound division is becoming obsolete. That's what I'm talking about. It has nothing to do. I would love to watch her fight. I would love to continue to keep watching her fight. And I'm talking my perspective from a promotional standpoint. If I was a promoter, which I am not. Okay,
I think you should give some background here.
The background is I had mentioned, I like the podcast is finally paying attention. Okay. Thanks for the advice. The background is from a promotional standpoint, there's nobody else for her to beat in Bellator. She had a really good fight with Arlene Blankow.
Well, there's one.
There's one. There's one. In
Kat Zingano.
Yes. There is the Kat Zingano fight, but Cris is on her. I think she's done with her contract or renegotiating or figure something out right now. I don't know. I believe that's the situation. I'm fine with seeing her fight again. I'm fine with seeing her sign with the UFC again, or not the UFC, but with Bellator again, or the UFC or whoever. The bottom line is this: I want to see her fight, and then no way am I saying that that women's MMA at 145 should go away. It's just there's not enough women at 145 in any of the promotions.
Well, so let's just add what actually happened, right? Because what happened was that triggered this was that you had said Aspen Ladd going to Bellator to fight Cyborg was a waste, right?
Yeah, I think it is a waste.
And
Tell me why.
Took that, and
Tell me why.
Cyborg replied to you saying, "Josh, I don't know why." You said in your tweet, Cyborg would smash Aspen Ladd, and somehow that was interpreted by Cyborg as, "I don't know why you're attacking me in the featherweight division, Josh, but the truth is, women like Aspen Ladd are built for 45 and will have a longer, healthier career." Blah, blah, blah. She's still on 27, leave her alone, basically. But somehow Cyborg misinterpreted what you said.
No. That's
okay.
See, that's things. There was some stuff sent to me through my DMs in my Twitter.
Okay.
And what was said was she had listened to the show. Now, my understanding is that she doesn't handle her DMs. Okay? That's my understanding.
Okay.
So if she doesn't handle her DMs, do we
So
have
the DMs
another?
are coming from somebody else.
They're coming from somebody else.
Okay.
Because
Who?
I don't recall.
Who?
I don't know. Here, let me. I
do.
know. I can say it. I can say it too.
Yeah, you could.
Here's my thing: is I'm not gonna say it.
Okay.
My thing is I want. There is never in my life. Maybe I've missed it. Have I ever heard Cris Cyborg say the shit that she said to me in the DMs? I've never heard her speak that way to anybody. I've never heard her be that way. Maybe she is that way. I don't know. But I have never, and I've been around her a lot, and she's not that way. No. And I'm going to stick with that, John. She's a fucking fantastic person.
Yes, she is.
I believe that, and that's from what I have ever met of her and know
She's
of
one
her.
of the kindest people you will ever meet.
She is extremely nice. Now, the shit that was said to me, I was like, all right, you're mad because of what I said, because I heard your show is what was said. I watched your show or I listened to your show, blah, blah, blah. And
What did you say on the show?
well, no, I had said what I was talking about. I had said, as a promoter, she costs a lot of money, and it's not just her. Cats and Gone was not cheap.
She deserves
either.
a lot of money.
She deserves a lot of, and I agree with that too, John.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I agree with that. I agree she deserves a lot of money. She has helped
elevate women's MMA.
She's helped elevate women,
Yeah,
period.
absolutely.
Like, she's helped elevate women's MMA, but she's helped elevate women to the standard that they can be out there fighting at the highest level. They can be out there headlining shows,
doing main events,
and doing main events, doing those things. Her, Gina Carano, Marlos Conan, Ronda Rousey, Misha Tate, Amanda Nunez, all of them, Holly Holm, all of them have done something for not just females, but not just the female sport in terms of MMA, but for females across the world. Young females look up to them. I'm not here to have that argument. My point was strictly from a promotional standpoint. Was as a promoter, her, Kat, I know that Dana White's come out publicly and said, look, Amanda Nunes, we keep that division around for her. I don't know if we're going to keep it around much longer for what we pay her. Yeah. And that's exactly what I said. Something
it's
very
a truthful
similar
statement based upon if you're the promoter and you don't really have quality opponents or someone that is not recycled as an opponent to put and to get people interested in, it's tough to promote that great fighter, even though they're great. When people have already seen them fight that same person, it becomes difficult unless
John,
it was a great fight the first time.
Have you ever watched the Harlem Globetrotters?
Yeah.
Who's the team that they always beat?
Washington Generals.
There you go. That's what we're fucking getting every single time. I'm being honest, and then when Aspen Ladd was released,
so basically you're saying the outcome before the fight, so it takes some of the interest away.
Yeah, outside of Amanda Nunes, she hadn't lost in 13 years.
Yeah.
It was some crazy number of years.
10 years at least.
Yes, at least 10 years. I think it was 13. I love her as a fighter. I love her as a person. I love watching her fight. But as a promoter, to pay the amount of money to have her, and I make this point is because Bellator let go of Michael Chandler, and in letting Michael Chandler go, because they didn't match whatever the UFC had put the offer in.
They could have.
They released it. They could have. They were considering it. They wanted to keep him. They kind of like, you know what though, he's done everything that he's set out to do. Let him go try something else. That's what I love about Bellator, and I love about Scott Coker as a promoter.
Yes.
He's like, look, we've kind of ran our course, and it's okay. Go do your thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like with the 145 pound division for females, there's just not enough of them out there. With that let go of with Michael Chandler, right? They were able to sign Usman Nurmagomedov, Tofik Mosaev. They have signed Alexander Shabley. They have signed a ton of lightweights with the amount of money that they were considering to pay Michael Chandler. Mm-hmm. Now you've freed up some capital. If you're trying to build a promotion with young stars, Michael Chandler's 34, 35, I think 35 years old, pushing 36, I believe. He's got a couple more years left in him. But what about building the up-and-coming talent? Cris Cyborg she's older, but she's still very dominant, and I'm going to stick with that no matter what. She's a dominant fighter. But if someone wants to look me in the face at Aspen and tell me an Aspen lad's going to beat her or give her a good go, you're blowing sunshine up my ass, buddy. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that nonsense.
All right. Hey, Josh, just so you know, I think Aspen Ladd could beat her.
Yeah, it's tomfoolery, man.
Yeah, tomfoolery, I like that.
The other thing is she fights at 35, but she hasn't made it in a long time, missing weight, all these things. But then, John, you're now going to put her up to 45. If that was the case, she should have went to 45 a long time ago. She's not going to do well her first fight. And if you're going to say, bring her on, her first fight will be against Cris Cyborg, are you trying to get this poor girl killed? That's my point was, this is like overall how this all started was, and just to go back and kind of recap it all real quick, is that I said if I was a promotion that I wouldn't pay to keep Cyborg, and I would sign a bunch of new talent, in other divisions, or I'd create a new division to sign a bunch of new talent into, whether it's 115 for females or whether it's 125 for males, whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just simply saying the amount of money that you save. And I didn't just mention her. Who else did I mention? I mentioned the fucking heavyweight goat, Fedor Emelianenko. He costs a lot of money too. And John, I'm a huge fan. I know you are. We are huge fans of him. But I'm just talking about just strictly the business point of it, or the financial side of it all, is you can sign a ton of young, great talent that is out there. And when everyone says, oh, the UFC has all the best talent, or one has a lot of, there's so much talent out there that we just haven't discovered, or is out there that promotions haven't quite got their hands on yet. They're out there. And building them up in your promotion is how you do it, by not spending money on fights that you've seen several times. Arlene and her she stays, Arlene and her will probably fight again within a fight. Well, and then you have Kat that's there as well. So you have Kat and you've got Arlene. Outside of that, there's no other fights for her. There's none. So maybe sign another 2-fight deal. If you were to sign Aspen Ladd, which now I believe Aspen Ladd's at PFL.
Aspen Ladd just signed with the PFL.
Now, but she signed.
Who is creating an entire weight class now?
Yes. At 145.
Yes.
Because they're trying to entice Kayla Harrison to go down to 45 to have more females to fight.
Here's the thing to look at. And this is when you're looking at heavyweights in MMA, male heavyweights, how many great fighters are there?
There's not.
Okay, and that's the real thing. And understand, long ago, when we did the unified rules, people don't realize there's the heavyweight division. The heavyweight division goes from basically 206 pounds up to 265, 266 if it's not a championship fight. And then there's a super heavyweight that goes from 266 and above. No one uses super heavyweight. Why?
Yeah.
There's not enough good athletes. There's not enough good fighters. And that's the problem. And that's the problem the PFL is finding with Kayla Harrison at 155. It's stretching the limits of what the featherweights at 145. There's just not a good grouping of good fighters to be able to have that weight class. It's very difficult to find a quality fighter in that weight class. Well, then to have 2 quality fighters or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, it's just difficult. 145 has been difficult. There's obviously some in there, and you can put Amanda Nunes and Cyborg. You can't put Kayla's fought there one time. And when she fought in Invicta, I believe she fought at 145. So she can make it, but she's really fought at lightweight most of her career at 155. So it's a matter of how many good athletes, good fighters do you have in that weight class? You can take a look at Bellator at one time. They had a top 10 that was okay. Bellator right now, I think, has maybe 8 women in their top 10.
Yeah, but they've only got.
Yeah. There's you can take a look and be honest, and you got to be honest about it. Leah McCourt just won her last fight. She won it against Diana Silva. And she's probably ranked 5 or 6 in the featherweight, division. Is she ready to fight Cyborg?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. I mean, you just look and
I
you go,
I love
look,
Liam
I love her as a fighter. I think she's a tough lady. I love her story, everything about it. She's ranked number 4. Yeah. And she is not ready to fight Cyborg. And so you're looking, women's featherweight, top 6. There's 7 fighters that are listed. Cyborg being the champion, then Kat Zingano being one, Blenko, Kavanaugh. The problem is there's just not a deep pool of fighters in that weight class, and that's really becoming the problem.
John, real quick, Dave, look up the UFC's 145-pound division.
Oh, that's going to even be worse. That's going to have
one. There she is. There she is. There is one.
One, yeah, the champ. That's it. No, there's no rankings at all past just having Amanda Nunes as the champion, and it tells you everything there is about the weight class.
And this is not an attack.
It's a problem. No, it's a problem that needs to be figured out.
Yeah,
because obviously, I think there are women there that you look and you say, should she be fighting bantamweight? Should she be fighting featherweight? There are women possibly that are fighting bantamweight, maybe Aspen Ladd, that should be fighting featherweight. But that's their choice. You can't just tell them, oh, you've got to fight this. I mean, a promoter can try and say, this is where I want to put you, but they got to agree to it.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's a tough situation. And I think you're talking about not the fighter in Cyborg. You're looking and saying, as a weight class, we've got a problem with this division and something needs to change so you can have somebody like Cyborg make the kind of money she makes.
John, I'm glad you're here because fucking I was stumbling over my words to get that same damn sentence out the whole freaking time. It has nothing to do with Cris. I love Cris to death. She's a wonderful person. She's a fantastic fighter.
Yeah.
I don't want to see her. I don't want to regurgitate the same fights over and over, and it's not fair to those same fighters too. Going, all right, look, I'm going to keep getting to the title and never going to win the title for the amount of money she's making, and I do believe she deserves all that money. She does. Yeah. But as a promoter, I also look at, I'm like, man, we could sign a lot of talent with that amount of money. And I feel the same way about the Fedor situation, and look, this is all stuff above my pay grade.
Yeah, well, I think part of the problem is somehow in there they're thinking because you work for the company, you have some say and someone's listening to you. We have no say. No one's listening to us. They don't give a damn.
Absolutely not. I got no say when it comes to this
say
stuff.
at all.
Yeah, I mean, look, the PFL's having the same issue with Kayla Harrison.
And you take a look at that. You take a look at the PFL situation now that they sign Aspen Ladd. They're going to be building a 140. What are you building? Who are you bringing in?
Yeah.
This is where it becomes difficult as a promotion. When you have a dominant fighter, which Cyborg is, which Kayla Harrison is, which Amanda Nunes is, it's tough to find those people to put against them to have a competitive fight that people will pay for because they want to see a competitive fight. They don't want to see one where they know the outcome before it happens. And the problem that the UFC is having at featherweight, the problem that the PFL will have at featherweight or Bellator is the amount of people in that weight class is just limited right now. We need a much deeper pool of athletes to go into the 145-pound division and compete there. There's 3 right now. 3. And we are, again, one has fought there one time in Kayla Harrison. But if you were going to sit there and say, let's have competitive fights at 145, I say, okay, let's put Amanda Nunes against Kayla Harrison and Kayla Harrison against Cyborg and Cyborg against Amanda Nunes. That's your competitive fights. Mm-hmm. That's the one that people, I'll pay pay-per-view money to watch those fights because those are great fights.
Yeah, where the PFL is going to have a problem is you didn't just say the fact they're going to have a problem with fighting
all of their girls
in
in their lightweight are going to go down to the featherweight.
Yeah,
except for one.
But I think she may end up going as well, and I think if she does go, because who else is she going to fight?
But the problem
is though, John. Go ahead.
The problem for Kayla in saying that she's going to go to 145. Look, Kayla is, I don't know how to say this without making someone feel, Kayla's a beautiful person. I love Kayla. She knows that. She's a big girl. I mean, she is put together. She's a brick house. I mean, she looks fantastic. To go and to fight on the schedule that the PFL makes her in losing weight that many times, that is different. That is not easy, and that's why Shane Burgos is saying, I'm going to go to lightweight in the PFL. I'm not going to fight at featherweight because I can't make the weight cut that many times that often based upon their season.
And I look at it, even if she does go and decide to try to make that weight that often, what you're going to run into, it's going to be the same 4, 5, or 6 girls every season because there's really no new additions. You may get one new addition that falls out of the UFC, or you may get one that falls out of Bellator, or you may get one that comes up through Invicta. You're going to get one new person maybe once a season, maybe once every 2 seasons. There, like you said, it's just not enough females in that weight class.
Yeah.
Realistically, if I was to match up every promotion, I might have a top 10. Maybe have a top 10.
Well, you don't have a top 10 because there's only one promotion that actually has a featherweight division where they rank them, and that's Bellator, and we got 7 women in it right now.
It's crazy.
It is.
And so
if I put Amanda in there, there's 8, and if I put Kayla in there, that's 9. It's still not a top 10 unless I put Aspen in there.
And so, but that would this and Chris, if you're listening to this, or somebody that is DMing me is listening to this, I want you to know I got nothing but love for you, a lot of respect for you. I admire you as a fighter. I think you're a fantastic athlete. You're definitely a great person. In no way am I trying to attack you. I just wanted to make sure it was said right here across this versus through Twitter and 140 characters. Or whatever the fuck it is. I just wanted to make sure that you understood that I was looking at it from a different point of view and had nothing to do in terms of attacking you. And by the way, you would still smash Aspen Ladd. There.
Yes.
I said it. That's all. I had to get that out there because I just knew that if I got on Twitter and started responding, it would have got twisted. Other people would have chimed in. I'm like,
what I hate about Twitter, 140 characters. You can't. People ask me questions like, you expect me to answer that with 140 characters? Really?
Yeah, it's like 280 or some shit now, but it's it's so much. I'm just like, look, I don't even want to get into it. I don't want people chiming in and talking shit either. I just want to be able to say things like this are a matter where you've got to say it, and I actually just got to give her a call, probably be like, hey, tell your guy to quit making your videos and stop DMing people. All right, hey, let's see what else you got for us there, Dave.
All right. Let's talk about Bo Nickal now. So going from beefs over to stardom. Big John never get the chance to really talk about this on the last show. But since then, so Josh talked about Bo Nickal's kind of stardom in the UFC. the potential of the Hamzat fight. You know, DC saying he'd smash Hamzat, and then Brendan Schaub saying that this is the biggest signing in UFC history as far as star power. And so Josh addressed all of that. So John, we'll get you to chime in there on that. But additionally, Bo came out and said on Ariel's show that if he was in the prelims, he'd retire because he feels like he's too big to be in the prelims.
That.
Since then, he came out on Twitter and said, well, actually, you know, if the UFC has 10 stars, right, which makes 5 fights on the pay-per-view, then yeah, I would fight in the prelims. What do you guys think about that? Like, is that acceptable, basically?
First off, let's be honest about it. Let's take a perspective on this. Bo Nickal has never even fought in the UFC, and he's already got people talking.
Yeah.
Okay? Based upon his 2 fights, if you want to say that, you know, for people that didn't know who he was in the Dana White Contender Series, he's got people talking. Now, anybody that knows his background and has watched him in his collegiate career, this guy is a fucking stud of a wrestler. Let's just be honest. Now, you know, talking about all the people that, you know, he's going to fight. Dan Lambert's a pretty smart sumbitch. Dan Lambert owns American Top Team down in Coconut Creek, Florida. He's been doing this a long time. Dan's been involved in the sport. He's been involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for a long time. He's a black belt. He is a very intelligent man, someone that I have a lot of respect for. He built an entire complex, Josh, an entire facility up at College Station based upon one guy and the ability to get that guy and then to bring other people from the Penn State team onto American Top Team, and it was Bo Nickal. Now, if Dan Lambert, who I think you've known for quite a while, and you have a little bit of respect for some of his, you know, choices and opinions, if Dan Lambert does that, that's not just back him saying, hey, this guy's going to be something. He's putting a lot of money behind him. He's putting a whole lot there behind him. It's telling you how good Bo Nickal can be. Now, that doesn't mean he can't be beat. But if you were going to take a look, again, walking in, he's one of the top wrestlers in the sport just walking in right now. Khamzat Chimaev, great fighter. Is he ready for him? I'm not sure, but if it was a wrestling match, Bo Nickal will wipe the mat with Khamzat Chimaev. He will fucking smash him. He will fucking tech him. He will pin him, whatever. Okay, in a wrestling match. Now, that's not an MMA fight because there's the stand-up, and I'm not sure, you know, Bo's got some learning to do with everything too, but hey, I love the fact that he's got the confidence he has, and he's making these statements. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to believe in yourself, and you're supposed to be able to go out there and tell your promoter, hey, I ain't the fucking guy you put on the prelims. I'm your fucking main card, main event guy. I'm the guy people are going to watch. Who else is going to be the one tooting your horn right now? This is what Conor did. You know, and a lot of people can sit there for a long time and not like what Conor, you know, is doing now or anything like that. That's all up to them. But Conor became who he is and what he has done based upon opening his mouth, saying, I'm going to do this, and then going out and doing it. And when he was doing it and he was called Mystic Mac and everything, this is what Bo Nickal is kind of starting right now. Now, he's got to not only talk the talk, he's got to walk the walk. But he has the talent to make that walk.
I would have to just ditto everything you just said. Look, I agree. Like, if he was to be put on the October 22nd UFC card with Islam and Oliveira, there's no room for him on the main card. There's no room for him on the main card. No. But he can headline. He can headline the prelims.
The prelim
all day long. Have him headline the prelims.
Absolutely.
He's a talented fighter. He still has a lot of growth. I'm not ready to say he's going to beat Chimaev. You know, and look, but it's a fight. Anything can happen.
If it was a wrestling match, who would win?
He would win. It wouldn't even be close.
There you go.
You know, he would tech him. Yeah. All those. Everyone I've talked to, and I've seen Bo Nickal wrestle since he was. Yeah, since he was younger. He's very talented. He's always been talented.
Not that Chimaev's not talented. He is.
No,
but he's not on his level.
different levels, different styles of wrestling as well.
Yes.
Chimaev may pull some funky stuff out, or whatever, but Bo will have a counter for it because Bo also has some funky style as well when he hits the mat. So there's a lot of good things that Bo Nickal will do on that wrestling mat. In terms of fighting, though, Bo Nickal seems like he has power. He's got power in his hands, and he seems very strong. He's a ginger, so of course he is. And in terms of his submissions, he's coming along. His last fight, look, I know the talent level wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
The only thing, the reason why I say, hey, when it came down to him and Chimaev, you're saying they're going to fight. And I'm just picking little things apart, John. I noticed that when he got the top position with the triangle, then he rolled over, he gave up the top position to go to the back.
You don't do that against a good fighter.
You cannot do that. You cannot do that against a top 10 fighter or a top 8 fighter or a top 5 fighter. You just can't do that. Chimaev's in that top 2 or 3. Probably almost in both weight classes, 85 and in 70. You can't do that to someone like that because they will make you pay. They will make you pay. Their submission defense is extremely good. And on top of all that, they've got power in their hands. They know how to ground and pound. They know how to really slow you down. They know how to do all those things. So I do think that he's on the right path. He's doing the right things. He's saying all the right things. And like John said, the Conor comparison is based off of the fact that he's going out and doing the things that he says he's going to do. And that's very important. That's very important. If I tell you I'm going to get rid of these chumps, I'm going to get rid of these chumps. And he does. He goes out there, knocks them out, or he taps them, or he puts it on them, and he goes out there and does exactly what he's supposed to do. I'm all for him. I'm going to slow the hype down a little bit because, look, let's be honest. UFC is not going to allow him to go fight someone like a Chimaev in 3 or 4 fights. They are going to slow row him. They're going to pay him a little under the table. They're going to make sure he's taken care of. They're going to make sure that, he's happy. All of these things. He's young. They know what they have with him. And I'm sure here, the same thing happened with Cain Velasquez. I'm sure there's tons of buzz around their gym and from reporters going there trying to cover his sparring, showing how he's messing up this person, he's taking this guy down, he's dominating this guy on the feet. And they're like, oh, he is. Okay. All that stuff is taken in. We couldn't get Cain Velasquez a fight until we got him signed to the UFC. He got signed to the UFC after like 2 fights or 1 fight. No one wanted to fight him. Nobody.
I think it was all 2 fights.
Media. I think it was 2 fights. Yeah, because he fought in Strikeforce was his very first fight.
Strikeforce, and he fought in Bodog.
Bodog. That's right. You're right. Yeah. So those were the only 2 fights he had, and then he got signed to the UFC. No one wanted to fight him. We couldn't get him fights. Everyone's like, nope. I heard about him. Nope. I heard about him.
Boom. There it is right there. Dave just pulled it up. Strikeforce, Bodog, UFC.
Yeah. So those were his fights. And it really just came down to that's kind of where Bo Nickal's going to end up. Like he had to sign with somebody because Buzz was going to be out. They're like, all right, I can't fight this guy. This guy's going to derail my chances of getting the UFC. And so that's exactly what I think was going on. And so I think he's doing everything right.
So do I. I have no problem with it. Look, again, a lot of people can talk. The guy can back it up. He's good, and he's going to be great. So stand by.
Slow roll him, though. Slow roll
That's
him.
it.
I always say slow because once you get up there, you can't go backwards.
Well,
if you do go backwards, it's bad.
Yeah, well, the comparison, if you really want to go with it and look at it, is Aaron Pico.
Yeah.
Okay. Same type of wrestling backgrounds as far as different path, different way, but both fantastic wrestlers. Bo Nickal really was never a boxer, but, has been doing MMA for a while and practicing, things while Aaron Pico did boxing and stuff. But, Aaron Pico, for everything that he is as far as a wrestler, everything he did in preparing himself, in boxing and stuff, it takes time to understand fighting. It takes time to be a mature person as far as understanding the elements that fighting is about, because being able to fight and understanding fighting are 2 different things.
Yeah. That's true. Absolutely. Next.
All right, let's talk Aaron Pico. So you guys saw his update video.
Oh, there we go. I just talked about him.
Yeah, there you go. So I'll let you guys get into that on his shoulder update and his injury.
Yeah.
Well, we talked about this on the other show, so you're gonna have to watch both of them now. But on this one, we're gonna sum this up pretty quick, so you guys can go to the other show and watch it if you haven't already seen it. It really just comes down to he had a separated shoulder, they couldn't get it back in, and he's a dog. He's somebody that wants to fight. The line that really, people were buzzing about it, was he literally turned to Herb Dean and goes, "Hey, don't stop the fight. I can fight. This is how I feed my family." And that fucking hit me deep, man.
That wasn't Herb Dean.
No. Aaron turned to him and said that during the fight, or whoever the ref was.
Blake Grice.
All right.
Yeah.
So whoever it was.
Nice story though with Blake. I mean with Herb, man.
Yeah.
Herb
all
was,
the refs look all the refs look alike to me.
We all look the same. I know.
So that really kind of, that was, you could hear it over the speaker. People were saying you could hear it over the TV.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oof, that sucks.
Well, and again, if you listen to Aaron now, he says, "Hey, they had to stop the fight. Look, it was a good idea. It was the right thing to do, and it is the right thing to do in the moment." Yeah, he wants to go on, but it wasn't. Sometimes shit happens. It just is what it is, and it's better for him to take, I guess, a loss, even though people are not. Everyone will look at that and they're going to go, "Oh, that's not really a loss." When Chris Weidman breaks his leg against Uriah Hall, he lost, but it's not really a loss. Broke his leg. It was 10 seconds of fighting. Okay, this is what happened. This lasted a round, but he separated his shoulder in the first 30 seconds of the fight, and then fought his way through 4.5 minutes with a separated shoulder, which only tells you how tough that son of a bitch is. And then if you go to his corner during that break and you watch Brandon Gibson and Craig Jackson jerking on his arm, not knowing how to pop a shoulder back in, and take a look at his face while they're doing it, it's emotionless, man. He's a fucking stone killer in there. Go ahead. If you've ever had a separated shoulder, which I have, which you have, to have someone yanking on my fucking arm like that.
Don't touch me. Don't touch me.
Dude. Hold on. Just wait a second. Hold on. Wait.
Linda, honey,
Linda,
baby, listen,
baby,
Linda,
listen, hold on.
honey,
Linda, listen to me, baby. Everything you can as they start to pull you. Whoa.
Yes.
And that dude was stoic, stone-faced, looking across like, go ahead, put it back. And they just couldn't because they didn't know how. And that happens. But I personally don't believe that he loses anything. Do I think the guy's going to be a champion someday? I do.
I
think he has it in him. And I think he has the skill. And I think now he's got the mindset. And I think now, like I was just talking about, he understands fighting. There is a level to everything, and it's as much as it is physical, fighting is more mental than anything. He's there now. He has been taught. He's figured it out. Obviously, there's always going to be something else, but he understands the fight game now, and he understands how to fight. It's different.
I agree with everything about him, man. His mentality is just something that if you're a young athlete, you guys got to pay attention. Just listen to the way he is, his mentality, and what he wants to do, what he wants to achieve, what his focus is, how he goes about it, all of those things, his cardio. He's like,
how he goes about it. That's the one thing you just said, how he goes about it. Because it's not just how much work he puts in.
No, it's not.
It's the attitude and the respect that he gives to everybody. Pulling people like Carlos Condit and taking privates from Carlos Condit. Those type of things. Hey, the guy's got it.
Yeah. Who's the guy that he does his cardio with? Sam Calavita.
Yeah.
He's in California and Pico's in Albuquerque. But Pico's sleeps with his heart rate monitor. He keeps track of it. He sends him over his heart rate. He sends him over his recovery stuff. He sends him over his meal plan on a daily basis.
Yep.
And he's just like, look,
it's a job.
When the fight with Jeremy Kennedy got pushed back, when it got canceled for the second time, they pushed it back. He's like, look, I really feel great right now. He's like, I'm not going to take any time off. I feel like I can get stronger though. So I'm going to go ahead and start lifting more. And Sam put him on a lifting schedule. He's like, I got to be honest. It's the best I've ever felt, man. It's the greatest I've ever felt. I was looking forward to that fight going into that second, third round because Pico's pace is just unmatched, I think, by a lot of fighters. And so I'm excited to see what happens in the growth of him. But you know what off topic. It's on topic, but off topic. You know who he reminds me of, though?
Who?
His body style and the way he carries it, like not the way he talks or anything like that, but his body style mainly, Frank Shamrock.
Yeah.
Kind of the broad shoulders. He's ripped, but he's not ripped. He's got a barrel chest. You know, like he has kind of the little side fats like I do.
You don't have
like,
no side fats.
Look at that, John. That picture right there. Look, that's
called an oblique. That is not fat. No. That's muscle.
No, I've had that my whole life. It's called fat, buddy. It's called. I get what you're saying. Isn't it? What are you so ruthless to me? Frank Shamrock had the same shit though.
You want to see side fat? I'll stand up here real quick.
Yeah. Save your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Save your eyes. Oh shit! But we wish nothing but the best for Aaron Pico, man. He's an absolutely fantastic person. So get healthy, get well, and the journey continues, my friend, to that title. Good stuff. All right, what else next?
All right. Well, we talk about one guy's recover from injury. We talk about the next guy stepping away from the sport. Kevin Holland says he is retired unless something magical comes up. What do you
Magical things just pop up all the time. Old. Hey, I'm telling you right now, I've told you what he made for that fight against Chimaev. I'm not going to put it on here. He made good money.
I'm going to tell people. No.
You go ahead, man.
I'm going to tell everybody.
But, God bless him, man. If you want to step away, good for you, Kevin Holland. I'm proud of you, man. Way to, come in there. Basically, 2020 was his year. He had 5, fights, 5 wins or so. He's had, some matchups that were difficult for him. Always fought his ass off. Had the problem with he talked too much and didn't pay attention in the fight so much. He would talk to people on the outside. But goddamn, man, you made your money. You're getting out. Good for you, brother. Good for you.
Take that money, okay, and go get yourself a fucking Batman outfit because you are fucking everywhere saving people and doing everything. He's a
crime stopper.
He's a crime stopper,
man. He's a crime stopper.
You're missing your calling, buddy. Fighting was never your thing, okay? Go right to being Batman.
Fight crime.
No, exactly. Look, he made a lot of money.
Yep.
Just make sure that you're spending it wisely. Take care of yourself, whether it's investments or just investments, because you're not making any interest in your bank right now.
Buy dirt.
Yeah, buy dirt. That's true. Buy dirt. But I wish you nothing but the best. I think you'll be back.
I think you will. Be back because I think he actually he likes fighting. He enjoys it, and eventually he'll miss it.
Yeah, hopefully it doesn't take too long. I want to see him fight again. That's being selfish on my part. But look, if someone could walk away because he did make good money, if he made good money, which he did, and then move from there and to if there's something else that he does on the side that there's something he's always wanted to try and get into. Yeah. You've got enough cash in the bank to go ahead and do it. Whether you want to go back to college, whether you want to get a degree in something else, I don't know what it is. Become all those things. Yeah, whatever. Become a cop.
Okay, Kevin, don't do it.
Don't do it. John's giving you personal advice. Other than that, wish you nothing but the best, my friend. Next.
All right. Well, we talked about Aspen Ladd going to PFL, so we can actually jump over this one. But in other news, there's reports that one championship.
Not reports. They reported it.
Sure. So there is a report from one championship. They have a record high $110 million in losses for 2021, and which totals almost $400 million. This is crazy.
I think about this, Josh. The UFC, when Lorenzo Fertitta bought it, he went $44 million into debt before doing the Ultimate Fighter, which eventually was $54 million in debt. But at 44, he went to Dana White and said, "Find out who wants to buy this." Dan Lambert was the guy that wanted to buy it. You know what that offer was? About $7 million. Okay? So now that means Lorenzo decided, okay, I'm not selling it because I don't want to lose $37 million, right?
Wow.
And they're fucking 110 for the year, 400 million for what they want to say is a total, which is probably more. How does a business lose that much money and still survive? How? Tell me. Oh, maybe you don't want to.
How do you still employ the people that are running it? I did like honestly, any corporation, and I look.
If you had investors, you think they'd be a little upset? You think they would be saying, "Hey, what's going on?"
You would think heads would be rolling.
Yeah.
And better be careful because if you work for the wrong people, they may be rolling one day. Look, I look at it like they've got talented fighters. I don't know what they're doing to spend that kind of money. You know, I mean, I know what they're doing, but I'm saying like it's.
You know exactly what they're doing, and so do I.
Yeah.
We've talked about it. We're just not saying it on this.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. To think $110 million loss just in 2020.
Just 1 year.
$383 million in total.
And it's more than that.
Yeah, but if you were an investor, you would be replacing the CEO, replacing the vice president.
Chatri wouldn't have a job.
Yeah, you would be thinking that something would change. But hey, if whatever it is that they're doing, you know, maybe this is a side, like a side. I'm trying to make shit up right now, John.
Yeah, you are. You are definitely trying to make shit up.
I'm trying to make shit up right now. I think we all know.
We all know
right.
what goes on there.
Good stuff.
There you are.
As long as the fighters are getting paid, man.
I think we'll be seeing this same type of thing in 2022. It'll be about 120 million, and in 2023, it'll be about 150 million. And by 2024, one championship will have lost over $1 billion.
I just don't want them to go away.
I don't want them to go either.
I don't want them to go away. I want them to stay around. I think them, PFL, Bellator, LFA, obviously UFC, but like, I'd love that there is options for fighters. You know, maybe it's not where you want to go, but there's companies that have money to spend and have money to blow on fighters, on paying a lot of. Look,
that's
I had
a lot of blow right there.
I had a good conversation with Eddie Alvarez last week.
Yeah,
and we talked a little bit in detail about how well he was doing.
Eddie's one of those reasons that there's $383 million.
Why fucking Eddie's contributed quite a few of those.
God bless him.
Yeah, quite a few of those zeros to that thing. But he did really well.
Sure he did.
Holy shit, he did really well. I was like, damn. So, anyways,
you're gonna walk away from what?
Yeah,
that's
what I said.
But
look, overall though, I told him, I said, why'd you leave? What'd you do? Did you slap the shit out of you?
Have you lost your mind?
Oh, I fucking love Eddie. Other than that, look, I mean, some people it's about the money. You just got to go where the money is. And if they stick around, they obviously are spending money. So if you have an opportunity to go there and make money, do it.
But, okay, let's take a look at this and be honest. We'll say you were still fighting, okay? And you were, the level that you were when you were fighting, and you came to the end of your contract, and we'll say that you were with, Bellator at the time, and you're a free agent, and we'll say that you were 30 years of age.
Oh, that's the end of my career?
No, end of your contract, I said.
Oh, okay.
I said you were still, the fighter that you were, high-ranking fighter. So now you're a free agent, and you see that they are reporting losses for this, but they come to you with a big contract. Does it not worry you?
No. You want to know why?
Tell me.
Because
I know where that money's coming from.
No. Because I know that type of money never runs out.
Yeah.
No, the reason why is because I I would take note from what happened to Pride. And then remember, when they end up selling to the UFC or to
no one's
UFC,
buying a company that's that far.
I get what you're saying. You're right. But you can also get held up that if a company does buy that, if someone does, people will buy it, but they'll just pay pennies on the dollar. That's what they'll do. So what they'll do is they'll essentially buy the fighters, which is what UFC did to Pride.
Yeah, you're going to buy the contracts.
Yeah, they bought the contracts. But just like in my contract,
No, the UFC bought Pride.
They bought Pride, but not every fighter came over. Want to know
because
why?
all of them had different contracts.
All of them had different contracts. So I take note from that. And what my note was, which is what I ended up using on my Strikeforce deal, is the same thing I would have used in this deal. Is that if the company changes hands or does that, I have the right to renegotiate with that company separately from you, and I cannot be held in any part of your guys' agreements. That I am separate from everything you guys do. That's why I would not be concerned. Because once that company goes away and it's consumed by the other, then I would just go ahead and say, hey, let's go ahead and negotiate on my behalf now, separately from you guys negotiating. You're not taking over my contract for no fee, no due. So when the UFC took over, I was able to renegotiate. They came to me and said, hey, that's why I believe that's why they kept that. That's why I believe they kept they had a couple more fights after they bought it. Was they wanted time to look into everyone's contract. Yeah, Strikeforce. They wanted time to look into everyone's contracts to see what they had, which fighters they wanted, and they also wanted to see how those fighters performed while they actually watched, while they were there at the events, which guys are we going to bring over, which females are we going to bring over. So my contract was something separate, so they saw actually what it was, and then we renegotiated before I went into the UFC. I would do the same thing with one. If I'm a fighter over there and I'm signing, if you were ever to sell, if you ever go out of business, you cannot hold my contract up in any court, anything like that. I am released automatically from my contract.
Okay.
That other than that, no, I wouldn't be concerned. If that wasn't in there, I wouldn't sign. But even if the fucking company was making billions, I'd still have that in my fucking contract. I still would. Like, hey, no, if you sell the company, my contract doesn't go with it. It's just how it goes. And if not, and I've said this on Twitter, I've said this, I don't know, countless times. If you don't like the contract, don't sign it.
Sign it.
Don't sign it. Now, if you guys are in it to be famous and you don't care about the money, then sign the contract. If you're in it to make a lot of money and you don't like the money, then don't sign it. Go somewhere else that's going to pay you. It's up to you. Everyone keeps harping on this fighter pay bullshit. And I'm like, do I think fighters deserve to get more money and more piece of the pie? Fucking sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. But you guys continue to sign.
But they don't do the right thing.
No, they want, everyone's like, oh, they have the right to live out their dream and, and fight in the UFC. No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't have that right. If you guys do, you do, if you want to go ahead and take less, that like you can if you want. Like I know the other companies, they have to pay more to get the top level talent. That's right. Because if not, then why would the top level talent come? They have to pay more. And so they do. And that makes it harder for their company to grow. So they're working from behind the whole time. But if you want to be famous,
it all comes down to one thing, Josh. What's the most important thing to you? Yeah. Is it your bank account or your ego?
Yeah.
That's what it is. If you're a fighter and you're fighting with the UFC and you're doing well, and they come to you, you have 2 fights left on your contract, and they come to you and say, hey, we want to re-sign you for another 4 fights. You can do that. There's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you say, this is the only place I want to fight, great, do it. But if you want to find out what you're worth because you're winning, and as we've said how many times, winning solves everything, and if you are being a fighter that is winning and putting on good fights, it's always smart to get to the end of that contract and find out what you're worth.
Yep.
It's not going to hurt you. Don't think that the UFC still doesn't want to sign you.
They fucking absolutely do.
They do.
I use AJ Anthony Johnson as an example. I don't know, countless
Shane
times.
Burgos. Boom.
Yeah. Went out, got a ton of money. And if he lives out that, fights out.
He's a UFC fighter. He wanted to fight in the UFC. And when he found out how much his worth was somewhere else, he goes, it's not that important to fight for them.
Yeah.
Smart man.
But the other thing, though, too, he goes over there, let's say he wins the PFL tournament or whatever, he can come back for probably more money.
Sure.
They'll probably match what he was
Absolutely.
getting paid. They would probably match.
They'll give
what
him
he
more.
was
If he
getting paid.
wins that,
Yeah.
they'll give him more.
Because now every time
He's betting on himself.
is
Love
it
it.
Bruce or is it Michael? Bruce Buffer. Every time Bruce, I was
Well, there's two.
for a second. Yeah, so every time Bruce announces it, he will introduce somebody, the former PFL champion or the former Bellator champion or the former Strikeforce champion.
Yep.
Because if that fighter loses to a UFC champion, it makes them look better, makes their athletes look better. It's worth paying those fighters a little bit more money to see if our fighters can beat them. And if they
Josh,
can't,
I don't think
now,
the UFC does that.
They'll do
Yes,
it with
yes, they
Strikeforce.
do.
They don't do it with they
they do it the companies they own.
Yes, the companies they own like
Strikeforce,
Strikeforce, they
Pride.
do it. Pride, they'll do it. They did it before.
Yeah.
But they don't do it with
Yeah.
PFL. And
Well,
I've
the Pride
heard,
guys are gone. They're all old now. We're all old.
Hey.
We all fucking aged out.
hey,
Hey, we did. I was one of them.
I know.
Fucking
You're
gone. Oh shit! Look how young I was when I signed with them and fought.
yeah.
them. It was
If
crazy.
they announce Michael Chandler, they don't say former Bellator champion, but in their commentary they'll talk about he was a Bellator champion.
Yeah.
But Bruce doesn't announce it that
No,
way.
because they own own
Strikeforce, and they
They own
say
Pride. They own the
Yep.
Strikeforce, so they do announce that.
Yeah.
All right, next.
All right, this segues perfectly into the next topic. So Henry Cejudo's kind of given his take on Patricio Pitbull versus Alexander Volkanovski.
Really, what did he say?
So he talking about the crossover fight that everybody's. This has been a conversation for a long time now. Pitbull said online that he would do the crossover. Dana doesn't have the balls and all that stuff. I really want to get your thoughts on more so the Patricio piece of it, and is he wasting his legacy by not going over to the UFC to compete amongst the best, like Michael Chandler has done and is doing and is currently?
I mean, like Michael Chandler, who he beat.
Michael Chandler's currently in the UFC.
I'm just asking you a question. I'm just asking you a question, Dave.
Dave, you seem to have go ahead. Let's hear your comments on this, Dave. Come on, WWE.
Michael Chandler is currently in the UFC.
Yeah, Michael
competing for
Chandler,
number
who he
one
knocked out in the
contender.
first round.
Do you wanna are you going to let me finish?
That same guy,
Are you
the
gonna
same
ask me a
Michael
question and then
Chandler that he went
yell
up
over
in
me?
weight to challenge for his lightweight title and knocked him out in the first round.
Why are
That
you
Michael
yelling over
Chandler?
him? No.
No, I'm just asking. Is
The
it that
Michael Chandler that is about to fight Dustin Poirier, and if he wins, will fight for the title next.
Well, he's not fighting for the title after that. It'll be Benil Dariush if he beats Camera. It'll be Dariush.
Well, we also have that in our story too. So
I know
why
we
don't we
do.
stay on topic for this one, right? I know it's hard for you, John.
Let's stay
I'm
on
sorry,
topic.
Dave.
Let's stay on
I
topic.
I know
just-
you
I just
got
had to,
dementia. You can't remember the question, right?
Ooh.
I think Henry.
No.
Look, I think Henry Cejudo has made a very good point. We do need to see this fight, but it will not happen. And there's no reason for us to spend more time talking about it. It doesn't matter. Patricio is locked in.
My question,
Volkanovski.
Josh. My question is actually on Patricio, and
Yeah, it is.
and more so around: is he wasting his legacy by not fighting out his contract and going to the UFC
Okay.
like Michael Chandler has
Is
done?
Now,
Volkanovski-
let me answer it for you real quick.
All right.
Okay,
let's hear it.
Patricio has been part of Bellator for a long time, and he's been a champion there multiple times. He's the current featherweight champion there. Alexander Volkanovski is the champion over in the UFC. And look, I think Alexander Volkanovski is fantastic. I would love to see that fight. Dana White's the reason you're not going to see that fight. Scott Coker would make that fight. Scott Coker has nothing to lose making that fight, but Dana has stuff to lose making that fight. Now, and I'm not putting Dana down in any fashion here. I'm saying Dana's being smart not making that fight, because what does he have to gain in making that fight? Now, your point is this. Well, Patricio just needs to fight out his contract and then go to the UFC.
Right.
Well, that's a nice concept, but that's you saying that the UFC is going to pay Patricio as much as Bellator. Are they?
I think they would.
You don't know. You don't know.
You don't know.
Okay,
I
and so
think they would.
they could say, well, we'll pay you this, and it's not what he's making now. So would he be smart for going over there for his legacy? He has a legacy. He is the best fighter that's ever competed in Bellator overall. He's the guy that's won more championships. He's got more wins. He's got more fights. His legacy is fine. Yes, he didn't fight in the UFC. There's a lot of guys that haven't fought in the UFC that were great fighters. So I would love to see him fight Alexander Volkanovski, but that one's not going to happen. But the one that could happen, the one that's a possibility, is the fight that he has always asked for, because he doesn't give it. He personally said, I'll put up $1 million of my own money and bet you that I'll beat Volkanovski. Now, again, like I said, Dana's not going to take that fight, and I understand why, and I'm not saying he's wrong. But Pitbull has always said, I want to fight Aldo. I want to fight Jose Aldo, because nothing to do with UFC, anything like that. I want to prove that I'm the best featherweight Brazilian fighter that's ever been. Everyone considers that Aldo is. I want to prove that I am, and I want the fight in Brazil. He has the possibility of maybe getting that fight.
Yeah.
There's a possibility, and I would love to see that. But that one's a possibility. This one, there's no possibility.
Yeah, I look at we're talking about legacy. If we're talking about just legacy, if Patricio Pitbull goes to 135 and beats Sergio Pettis, or he beats Rafael Stotts, or he beats whoever wins this Grand Prix, whoever it is, if he goes out there and beats them, he will be the first 3-division champion in the sport. In the sport.
Yeah.
In the sport. And so for me, that is a bigger legacy. That's somebody that's willing to challenge himself where other fighters weren't willing to do that. And he did, and he's going to be trying to do that. It sounds like that's what his goal is. And if that's the case, he will have done something that no other fighter has ever done. Ever. And I can't even imagine of a fighter attempting it. The closest one that I know of was GSP talking about going to 55.
Henry Cejudo.
Henry's been trying to get that fight with Volk.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like Dana wants to give it to him.
He would be the closest one that if I could look and say, I think he'd be the closest. But you're right. GSP had talked about dropping to 155. Possibility.
Josh, here's the thing with Henry Cejudo though, John. We're not going to see. People were thinking we're going to see the same Henry Cejudo that we saw when he left.
No.
He's been off too long. We're not going to see that guy. It's going to take another year of us seeing him get back to the level that he was.
Yeah.
And then these guys have gotten better since he left. So that's going to be the hard part. And as much as I would love to see Henry do the 3 divisions. And I think it'd be awesome to see. I think now with Henry coming back, and I think Patricio, Henry was there for Patricio this fight here in Long Beach. They were all showed up together. There's some buzz going on that these two guys are talking about getting back together, putting the band back together, to start working together again, because I feel like they were the best when they had each other.
Oh, yeah. No doubt about it.
They were fucking awesome.
That's when Henry really started to become the guy that became the champion, the guy that defended against TJ Dillashaw, the guy that went and beat.
Henry's come out vocally and said he helped me so much. He said he was one of the biggest reasons why I was able to go to 35.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a 25, 35. He's like, shit. He's like, we helped each other, obviously. Yeah. But Patricio is a big reason of my success. Fantastic. I want to go ahead. But Dave, you felt like it sounded like you had something to say.
But I just think that what you're saying though, right, is that it still leaves like a question on that type of legacy. You're saying like if he goes
in whose mind?
35,
yours?
Yeah. If I had three, if I was the
MMA
only,
I
know, but I get what you're saying. Look, if he was to leave, in the general MMA community, okay, and you were to say that in the general MMA community, like just the casuals, like yourself, okay, if you were to say that, like, you know what, he just was in Bellator, lightweight, he won the lightweight title there against Michael Chandler, but no big deal because Michael Chandler's not that good. Defended his title, redeemed himself against every loss except for one that he's ever lost to. He's always won, came back. He never got a shot against it, but he came back and he's defeated everyone that's ever beaten him. Everyone except for one. Then now he goes to 35 and he wins the 35-pound title there. And I want to say there's not one person in the whole sport that has ever done that. I think he's pretty much solidified his legacy. I don't care what any casual like yourself says.
But who's going to talk about it?
It will be talked about by every media source. It will be. Now, it may not get the love that it would have got if it was in the UFC. It may not get the love, but it will be talked about. No, that's not the issue.
That's the point I'm making.
I think here's the thing, though. For you, you've always cared, because you like WWE, right? You've always cared about being a star. It's true. You're the kid that wants to be in the spotlight and the bright light. Some people just want the money. Some people just want to know they did it for themselves. You know, not all of us are cut from the same cloth.
Well, but that's kind of the question I'm posing is someone like that content, right? It's such an elite level. Are they content with just, going home tomorrow? They're done fighting. They've got that money in the bank.
I think what you're mistaking, though, is you're mistaking fame with legacy, and that's not what he cares about. There's
Not
a lot.
fame,
there's a lot of great. Yes, that's what
Not
you're
fame?
There's fights
No.
on the table.
No,
right?
but
There's a
yeah, but he
debate
can't-
for
he
the
can't get there.
best featherweight.
He can't get there though, because contracts don't allow that. You can't, you cannot, as you're a champion, you can't leave. So
Right.
for him, he'd have to lose his, and even if he vacated his title, he's still under contract. Like that was like when, who vacated their title and then left? GSP. He was still under contract.
But
Like,
doesn't
he had to
Bellator
come
have a
back- he had to come
different
back and
contract
fight.
system?
What's that?
Bellator doesn't have a different contract system.
No,
it's the same.
Bellator has the same
All-
thing. If you're the
Yeah,
champion,
all
you
promotions are the same.
all promotions now have the same thing. If you're the champion, you just can't leave. No one wants their champion walking away with their belt and going fighting somewhere else.
You guys can thank BJ Penn for that.
Well, you can.
All right, next.
All right.
Nice try at that whole legacy thing there,
I thought that
Dave.
was great.
I mean, I just think that when you guys read the comments later on this, you guys are gonna see there's a bit of agreement.
No,
Anyway.
no. What it's going to be is they may agree with you, but just remember you're considering yourself to be equal to people in the comments. I want you to remember that, okay? For someone who says
Says the
he
guy that
rags
lives in
on
there.
me. He rags on me for reading the comments, let alone this guy's trying to say he agrees with you guys now.
But the MMA community is in our comments, and I think that
No.
they're gonna. I think they're gonna agree.
You really believe that the real MMA community is in our comments?
Yeah,
Wow.
I do.
Oh man.
All right.
You too many WWE up the top turnbuckle type moves.
God.
Oh.
So, I want to get your reaction to Beneil Dariush saying that if Michael Chandler beats Dustin Poirier and gets a title shot, we are living in a clown world.
Can you pull up Dariush's record, please?
If you're Beneil Dariush, I agree, because Beneil Dariush has done everything that he's been asked to do, everything that he can do, in proving who he is as a fighter, in going out and beating all of the people. Pull that up real quick and take a look at that last group of fighters that he's fought. If you take a look at that list, all right, he's going out and he's fighting everyone. They're putting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins in a row.
Yeah.
All right. Some of those against good fighters. Thiago Moises, Drew Dober, tough dude. Tony
Diego
Ferguson
Ferrer
in there.
is good.
Yeah.
Diego's good too.
Diego's very good. And so you're looking and you say, look, he's doing what he was supposed to do. If you have that many wins in a row, and you have Michael Chandler, who is now, 2-2 in the UFC?
2-2.
Okay. And so if he's 3-2, and you win, we'll say he wins his next fight, so he's 8, wins in a row. Who deserves the title shot? The 3-2 guy or the 8-0 as far as what they've done? Now, the biggest difference is put a mic in front of Beneil Dariush and put a mic in front of Michael Chandler. And there's your difference. And that's why Michael Chandler will get the fight.
I don't know if Michael Chandler's going to get the fight. The reason why I say that is because Michael Chandler beat Hooker. Michael Chandler beat Tony Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
Together, their combined record is 1-9 in the last 10 fights.
Okay.
If you want to compare that to this guy's win streak right now, and I'm not saying you are, I'm saying you're just talking strictly the off promotional talking mouthpiece. Michael Chandler's going to get the fight, which I say 99% of the time it's probably true.
Yeah.
99% of the time. I'm going to disagree
I'm not saying that Beneil doesn't deserve it. He does. I believe he does, based on what he did.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is look at Michael Chandler on the mic. He's gold. Take a look at what he did with his, fight with Tony Ferguson.
I agree.
The fights were all top 10 guys, though.
Yeah, the top 10. Look, but here they're lacking in the top 10. Let's not be honest. Like the one in Tony had 1 in 4 fights, 5 fights, something like that, and then Dan Hooker had
I think that was his fourth fight, his fourth loss in a row.
Yeah, so
Third
it's like Yeah. So, anyways, they're in their last 10 fights. They're 1-9. Now, the reason why I say that I think that Dariush will probably get it, and I'm going to get it for this, is that Islam Makhachev is managed by Ali. Dariush is managed by Ali. And Islam Makhachev's going to walk through Oliveira. So now you have Ali's going to say, we want Dariush to get this.
Yeah, dude, I knew somehow this would come around.
This is going to circle back around. And here we go.
Here comes
And
the tidal weight of bullshit.
And Dariush was already supposed to fight Islam. So that fight is going to happen because Dana White said, remember, because everything Dana White says is true. He said, I want to see Dariush and Islam Makhachev fight. I just did the matchmaking for you guys, man. It's simple as that. This is what I really think is going to happen, though. I think Islam's going to win. Okay. And when he does, he's going to end up having Ramadan. And I think in that process of Ramadan, of when Ramadan takes place, that you're going to have to see Dariush versus Michael Chandler.
Ooh.
That's what I think is going to happen. Because this is going to get heated over who's going to get the next shot. This is going to get heated. Now, if Islam loses, I think you're going to see Islam and Dariush fight to see who fights for the title. And I think then that's how, what's his name, jumps him.
See, hold on. If Islam loses,
he'll fight Dariush, and then Chandler will jump to fight Oliveira for the title.
Okay.
I think that's what's going to happen. Because then that'll put, if he beats Dariush, that'll put Islam right back into a title shot because Dana likes Islam a lot because of the Khabib's connection and all that. And then if Dariush wins, he automatically obviously deserves his title shot. I think that's where you're going to play it at. I think that's how it's all going to play out. I think Chandler is the guy that the hype is behind right now, and that Dana wants to get him there as fast as possible. And if he wins, he wins. If he doesn't, he doesn't. But I have a question.
Yeah.
If Michael Chandler wins the title, does that mean that everyone in Bellator still sucks?
Oh, yeah.
I just want to know.
Yeah, it does. Oh, yeah.
I just want to know if he wins.
Yeah, as soon as Chandler came to the UFC, he became just a completely different fighter.
Yeah. But no, I have another question. Do you think he's going to beat Dustin?
No, I don't.
I don't think so either. Damn. I don't think so either. I like Dustin, but I think Dustin's going to be able to. But it's not a 5-round fight.
No, it's a 3-round fight.
It's 3 rounds. You still don't think?
No.
I think Dustin beats him as well. I just think the Chandler's hard to beat in a 3-round fight, and Dustin's a slow starter.
He is, but he also, the one thing, and this is my one thing. I love Michael Chandler. I have nothing bad to say about him. But when it comes to the fight, I know. But when it comes to the fight, Michael tends to lean towards, I want to entertain. I want you to be, impressed instead of fighting smart.
Do you put any stock? And I know we're not supposed to, but I always try to throw something in there because I know fans and comments and stuff like that. Well, I'm going to go back and read them, and it really just gets me going. Do you put any MMA math into this one?
No.
The Justin Gaethje and the Justin Poirier, and then the Eddie Alvarez and Gaethje and Dustin, and you don't put any MMA math in there?
Well, okay, let's be honest. Dustin beat Eddie. Michael's beaten Eddie. Mm-hmm. Eddie's beaten Michael. Mm-hmm. Right?
Gaethje's beaten.
Gaethje's beaten Michael. Gaethje lost to Dustin.
Yeah.
It's
just fun.
Styles make fights.
I fucking love this. Fucking giving me a hard on. Oh, that's great.
I'm feeling so good.
It is. All right, next.
All right, we will wrap up on this one. So
I thought we were doing fan questions.
We can get a couple in here.
Let's get a couple in.
Okay,
I'm not going to talk much about this. I'm going to say one thing. Dude, 53 years old.
Save it.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
So I made the mistake of posting this on Twitter and Instagram this time, and then people seem to want to troll more with fan questions when you post them there. So I'll never make that mistake again. First question from Downtown Connor Vaughan. I have a titanium plate in my jaw from a sports injury. You always talk about plates and legs hurting the kicker more. Does my titanium jaw help or hurt my chin? "Quote unquote chin."
Does neither.
I think it hurts you.
Doesn't help it at all. Can it hurt you? Depends on where the screws are at and everything. But
Yeah.
it doesn't help or hurt you. It's if you could take a shot, as far as the pain of it, it is what it is. It's not going to make your chin stronger. It's not going to make it worse.
It's not a good feeling pain, let me just tell you. Ugh. Ugh. I couldn't kick. I very rarely kicked with my leg after I broke it. I got a plate in it. I got a plate, 9 screws.
Because it hurts when you do something to be effective against your opponent and it hurts you. You tend to stay away from it.
Yeah. A hard pass, my friend.
Hard pass.
Next.
All right, next question from where I lost them. Sean Skeens. How do you think Prime Fedor would match up against other legendary heavyweights that never fought, like GDS, that he never fought, like GDS, Stipe, Kane, Lesnar, and Ngannou? So I'll let you guys pick one each, let's say, and then go from there.
I'll take the Kane one.
Okay.
It's hard for me to say, man.
Put Kane at his best and Fedor at his best.
Kane at his best and Fedor at his best. I would have probably taken Fedor.
Yep.
Only based on the fact that Kane was always subject to submissions. He was susceptible, I should say, to submissions. No one was at the level to stop his wrestling, his cardio, his pressure, all those things. But submission wise, no one could take him down in the gym. Not even DC. DC would get him down, he'd pop right back up. Just couldn't do anything. And DC wasn't giving submission threats. I mean, Marcus Buchecha came to train with Kane and couldn't hold him down. So I got that part, but Fedor was one of those guys that had a different style of wrestling. Kane would have shot. He would have probably tried to get hip toss. Him being on top. Fedor was real quick with the triangles and the arm bars and hitting up the
very
Kimuras,
fast with the arm bars.
Yeah, very fast with the arm bars. Good for the sweeps. Good at getting on top. So I'll take that one. I wanted to. Yeah.
That hurt.
Yeah, but
That
by the
hurt
way,
right there. Right
hashtag free Kane.
Hashtag free Kane. I'll take the Brock Lesnar because that one was close. That one was actually very close to happening. And even back then, even when Fedor was older, Brock did not have a good chance against Fedor. Now, Brock was known as a wrestler. He is a massive guy, very strong. Fedor fought too many massive, big, strong guys, way bigger than him, way stronger than him. The one thing Brock did not like was getting hit. And it affected him greatly. And Fedor had speed in his hands and he had power in his hands. And if you were going to take a look and say, wrestling wise, could Lesnar have gotten him down? Yes, he could have. Wouldn't have been good for Lesnar as far as he could have gone after ground and pound, maybe would have done well. Armbar attempts and things would have negated a lot of what he did. But if he ended up underneath him, wouldn't have been good for him. But on the feet, it was the real problem for Lesnar. I would have said that, it would have been very similar to in my opinion, that fight would have been similar to Lesnar against Alistair Overeem, where you saw Lesnar unable to really take someone down because, look, a lot of good wrestlers tried to take Fedor down. Some of them did. They got him down, and he ended up switching the position on him, ended up in the top position, or ended up, grabbing hold of a submission and winning with that way. So those guys were just as good a wrestlers as Lesnar. And then I look at when you can't keep him down, now you're on your feet. And if you're Brock, it's just not a good place to be. So I would have said Lesnar would have had a problem with him.
If Brock would have been on his back at all, it would have just been all over. Like
a turtle.
Yeah. I can't think of any other top level heavyweights. Like him and Stipe, I would have put Fedor. If Stipe would have been a good fight for him though.
Yeah.
Stipe would have been a good fight for him. So the fight that I really would have loved to have seen would have been him in DC. Like Kane is the animal that would have just pushed and tried to get him to. Fedor was always so calm and composed, and that style, Kane would have had to been a 25-minute long fight for Kane to start really kind of running away with it if he'd have been able to avoid the submissions and that type of stuff. That's a closer fight. The DC thing it interests me because DC was like a smaller version of Fedor. Like just the chubby Kung Fu Panda, fast hands,
Panda, baby.
Good wrestling, like no submission threat, but like he was, it was there, like the takedown, even the chain wrestling, all of those things. And DC spent a lot of time wrestling Russians, lots of them. Yep. So the hip tosses, the foot sweeps, all of those things. He was very keen to, and just it would have made for a fun fight. So I would have leaned towards obviously Fedor against both Kane and DC, but I'm definitely not counting either one of them out. Definitely not. Wouldn't have. But Fedor was just one of those guys for a heavyweight, just had more tools, more all around MMA tools. He could take the fight anywhere. And that's what scared me a little bit with Kane. There was no real good jiu-jitsu heavyweights that he ever had to fight. Frank Mir was kind of done already at that time in terms of jiu-jitsu and stuff. There just wasn't the same Frank Mir that won the title against Arlovsky. Same thing when DC fought Frank Mir. It's like there's no real submission threat. Outside of that, there was during their run, Verdum was the only real submission threat, and he was kind of making a run also, and he caught Kane. But a lot of that had to do with Mexico City. It had nothing to do with Verdum. That was the altitude, all those things. So I'm really intrigued by the Kane and the DC setups for Fedor. I would only lean towards Fedor because, like I said, he could take the fight anywhere.
We're rolling over Instagram, so they're mostly just fun ones. So
all right, let's do it. Come on.
All right, Checkflyer23 asks, whose jiu-jitsu is better in their prime, Josh or John?
What?
In their prime, Josh. I never had a prime.
Like I said, look, if fucking Big John was to get on top of me, I already found that out fucking one day in the cage. Fucking like a tree.
He ain't getting away from me.
I ain't getting away. I ain't
doing
up,
nothing.
Man. When they told me jiu-jitsu worked for small people, they fucking lied.
That's why I said Josh. See,
oh,
I'm humble towards you, my brother. I love you.
Oh, man.
All right, DRN Dog asks, how does Josh keep bodying Big John every week with 50-45 across the board?
Every week. Fucking, I just smash, man. This is the easiest shit I've ever done.
Not even
It's
close.
not hard. It's not, it's true.
Do you know how hard? Do you know how hard it is to actually have to listen to some of the stuff that Josh says and realize, oh my God, he really believes that?
Yes. You know what's really great is, for once, everybody that listens to our podcast that watched Bellator last week realized how right I am all the time. When it came down to our face-off, and John just went off on
so much
tangents.
on that. You lied. You
went off on his tangent.
You sat there and lied. Okay, let's break this down now. See, here he goes again. Look at him, and he's laughing his ass off.
Producer, bring up the highlights.
I like that part. That was great. But we have a producer that goes and says, Josh, who do you want? I want Pitbull. Right, so he gets Pitbull, so I get Borsch. Okay, I'm supposed to talk up Borsch. He's supposed to talk up Pitbull. Okay, great. I have no problem with it. Don't care. And then my man Josh comes and says, on our podcast, you said he was going to jab his face off. I said, no. And I got to say,
weighing in, by the way.
Hold on.
Said weighing in.
Yeah, you did, which was good. I was proud of you for that. Yeah. So, and the truth is, I said, all right, what if he jabs his face off? He didn't put the what if, because see, that's not what Josh does.
No.
Josh wants to alter reality.
and I even said, and I quote, which was not the quote, by the way.
No.
I'm not gonna lie. I was sitting watching that show, and Josh says, "Hey producer, pull out the," and I pulled out my laptop, and I was like, "Oh wait, he's not talking to me."
That's great.
I could see Dave
That's
going,
awesome,
"Fuck,
Dave.
I can't find it. I can't
What the
find
hell?"
it." Oh, that was great. My fucking the producer in the truck was like, he literally like everyone in the headphones could hear him say, "That motherfucker." What did he say?
He did. But I want to say this, and then this is true, and it comes from the heart. I have never had so much fun as I have working with my man Josh Thompson. He is awesome. He is full of shit. I will tell you that. That's one of the things I love about him. We have a good time together. So
I do. I have a blast with you, man. And a return on this is, last week I went through, some hard times, and I appreciate you being there for me. It means a lot to me.
no problem, brother.
So, all right. Well, hey, we're going to wrap this up. I want to thank you guys so much. Hit the subscribe button, the thumbs up, and the bell. We're posting 2 shows today just for you guys because, we
love you.
We do love you guys.
Yes.
And so we want to get a little extra content out there for you guys. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Go to WayneandPodcast.com. Pick up some of our merch. Show us some love. Pick up some of the merch. Okay, we've got some great shirts. I got the 10-8 round that I'm always delivering. And lately it's been 10-7 against John, as you guys all know. And but hey, thank you guys so much. Hit that subscribe button. And John, take us away.
I forgot to say so. I got to say something real quick. He's mad at me. He's been mad at me for a while. Mr. Mike Beltran has been in the hospital. He has been sick. He had a real bad thing happen. So, Mike Beltran, I hope you get better, get well soon. I'm sorry that you're ill right now. Get yourself together, and good luck with everything, brother. For
Thoughts
everyone
and prayers,
else
my
out there, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thoughts and prayers to my boy.
Thoughts and prayers,
Love
man.
Mike Beltran.
For everyone else out there, I hope you enjoyed. We are here to make your life a little bit more enjoyable. Hopefully we did that, and we're going to see you.